Good evening, Ellen and Tom. How are you?
Good evening.
All right, 7 o'clock. I don't know. We want to give a couple of more minutes for Tom Ryder to join.
Sounds good.
Greetings, all.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
How are we doing this evening?
Good so far.
Give it 2 minutes.
Oh, there we go.
All right, Tom Ryder's there. Okay.
All right, go get him, Jack.
All right, so before we begin, we have an introduction for tonight's remote meeting. This open meeting of the Mendon Board of Health is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's updated guidance on holding meetings pursuant to the act extending certain COVID-19 measures that was signed into law on June 16th, 2021. This act includes an extension until March 31st, 2023 of the remote meeting provisions of his March 12th, 2020 executive order, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. The order allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. For this meeting, the Mendon Board of Health is convening by video telephone conference as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. This meeting will feature public comment. The time is now 7:02, and with that, I hand it over to the chairman of the board, Alan Greenberg.
Thank you very much, Jack. Two things. First of all, I want to thank Jack, Joyce, and Tom Ryder for participating in tonight's meeting. Your help and assistance is always appreciated, and I appreciate the fact that you take time out of your day to do this. The second order of business pertaining to 103 Uxbridge Road is I have to make a statement of ethics. I have a long-term relationship with Guerriere and Halnon. I'm one of their vendors. So if anybody has any opposition to me participating in the discussion or voting, feel free to speak up. With that, I'll turn it over to Tom Ryder to discuss 103 Uxbridge Road, please. Tom, I believe you're muted. Well, while Tom Ryder is adjusting his audio, Bob Poxon, are you here representing Gary Aaron Halnon?
I'm here, but Mike Hassett is also here. He's the lead engineer on this one. I'm just here for supporting him.
All right, so if one of you gentlemen wants to speak on behalf of your client, please do.
Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Hassett. As you said, I work with Gary and Halnon. So we're here tonight to discuss the existing septic system out at 103 Uxbridge Road. So back in June in 2020, we came before the board to discuss reusing the existing residential septic system on the property. We left that hearing with positive endorsements from the board. And then fast forward, the planning board issued a decision authorizing the project to proceed. The project is now currently under construction. During construction, Steve Donatelli, I believe, went out to the site, and while he was on the site, he made an observation of the D-box and the septic lines leading to the leach field, that they were in a failed condition and should be replaced. Pending that, we applied with the Board of Health for additional soil testing. We did soil testing on October 5th, witnessed by Steve Donatelli, and we came back with generally good soil testing results. Perk rate of 25 minutes per inch, groundwater models estimated at 42 inches based on models that we observed. But the issue we ran into is that there is only 36 inches of naturally occurring pervious material, where 4 feet is required by the state code for a conventional system. So at the time, me and Steve discussed it, and we kind of came up with an initial idea of maybe using a Presby system. We have since gone through with the design of that system to determine its feasibility. It works. I believe I sent the copy of the plan to Jack. If you wanted to bring it up, I don't know if that's, I'm not familiar with Microsoft Teams. I imagine it's possible. But the gist is Presby systems can be authorized to be installed with less than 4 feet of naturally occurring pervious soil per their modified certification for remedial use from Mass DEP. It can allow a reduction to only 2 feet of natural without a variance, provided that it has been demonstrated that no greater separation can be achieved anywhere on the site. So our soil testing back in 2020, which led to the initial discussion, documented that it was shallow ledge everywhere. There's a number of wells in the vicinity that also limit the possible locations that system can be placed. And so it was determined at that time the best thing was to reuse the system. Obviously, now that that leach field has been determined to be in failure, that location still remains the most viable, and our soil testing demonstrates that. So we're before the board to get your feedback on this and then determine next steps that we would need to do in filing an application to construct that system officially, pending a positive discussion here tonight. So I'll turn it over to the board if you have any questions, or if Tom Ryder is available, he can make his comments, or however you want to proceed.
If I may interrupt, I am chatting with Tom Ryder. He is getting no sound from his computer, so he's either going to call in or try another computer at the moment.
I just want to add that we're designing the system 4 feet above water table. We're not asking for any variance to that. We're just asking for a variance to allow less than 4 feet of pervious material.
Yes, the design complies with Title V and the
Yes.
Presby approval. In every other way, it is only the reduction in pervious material that we're looking to feel out tonight.
And in several of the holes, we have 4 feet of pervious material, but only some of it is fill. So you don't know whether or not there might have been 4 feet of material there before they took the loam and seed the top of the subsoil out and added the fill. You don't know what, so.
Yeah, that plus the installation of the original septic system. Our testing was by necessity on the the outside of the existing system, and so in every test pit we encountered the sand and in some cases the piping from the existing system. The existing system was an Orangeburg conventional trench system, or bed. I think it was a bed actually.
Where's the ledge there? Anywhere?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the vicinity of the septic system, the ledge is between 64 and 71 inches below existing grade. However, due to the models, we're going to be maintaining well in excess of 4 feet of separation to the ledge.
Right.
All right, so
Now,
I guess Tom Wright is still working on it. Steve Donatello, do you have anything to add to this?
Only that I was out there with Mike for the soil testing. Originally, when this came about, I was out there to witness a replacement of the existing septic tank as part of the condition of the passing Title V. And in doing so, before that was actually installed, I witnessed that the distribution box and the pipes leading therefrom had been crushed. And there was Orangeburg piping. And at that time, I just, and Jason Tatro was the installer of the tank. And we discussed it. I looked at it and told him it needed a new septic system at that point. You cannot use that system. So we would then schedule testing, and Mike Hassett did the soil testing out there, and I witnessed it. And like he explained, there was ledge throughout the whole area. We tested through the original system. That's where the new system will have to go. And from what's there currently, there was not 4 feet of permeable material on site. So that's the request he's making.
And in case it wasn't clear, it is a reduction in the original design flow. The original house was a 3-bedroom septic system, and we are estimating a new design flow of 320 gallons per day, which we think is a conservative estimate. They're putting a basement in, and so we estimated that the entire basement would at a retail loading rate, even though I believe it's more of a warehouse and break room for the employees. But to be conservative, we assumed that for future expansion, we would size it as if it were retail in the basement as well.
I apologize. I was having trouble with my sound. I can hear the conversation now. So anyways, I did see the letter that was submitted regards to the proposal. So you're going to use a Presby system, 2-foot offset to naturally occurring material.
We're maintaining 3 feet.
You're maintaining 3 feet, so that is
And it's not an offset to the natural occurring material. It's just that there's only 3 feet present.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, thank you, corrected. So, and there may be some requirements that the approval letter specifies. There may be a deed recording. I need to take a look at that when we go through the approval process.
I believe there is. It needs to be mentioned on the deed, yeah. And I think some notification letters to the property owner about the system and its capacities.
Okay. All
Tom
right.
Fickner? Tom Fickner, do you have something?
Do I have something? Oh,
Yeah, you got
boy.
something?
Good evening, everyone. Hey, Steve, Tom, Mike, and Bob. So I'll throw this out. I don't know if this would be more for Steve or Tom, just with regard to the testing results for the perk test. How would you rate the results from what you found on the perking end of things?
Yeah, we found a 25-minute perk rate, so it perked fine. I mean, 25-minute rate is probably average.
Yes, and we actually perked twice, and the second rate was 12 minutes an inch. So we designed the system at the 25-minute an inch rate.
The slower of the two perks.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And this would be a gravity system. It would not be a pump dosing system, for what it's worth.
Hey, refresh my memory, Tom, you might recall, just thinking in terms of Presby, do you recall the type of system that they put in at the drive-in?
That was a fast system.
That's it, thank you.
Tom Ryder, are we in a position to make a decision on this tonight, or do you need more time?
So as far as the local upgrade approval, I think this is permissible through the approval letter. And we still have to, finalize the review. So this takes care of the administrative portion of it to make sure that you guys understand that there is a local upgrade that they're proposing here. So I think it's fine. Fine. I mean, I can document it with the letter as well to follow up, just so that you guys have that on record. That this isn't acceptable. I think we already knew this was going to be a problem area back a few years ago, as far as originally when Karen and Halnon approached us regarding the limitations of the site. And I think we looked at it and said, yep, this is the only place for our septic system to go. So I would say they do meet the requirements for a local upgrade.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Tom and Joyce to do your thing.
Well, I'd be,
I think-
well, Joyce, why don't you speak to the issue first before we do a
Well,
motion?
there's just one thing that I feel that we should discuss a little bit, and that's the fact that it was approved as a viable septic system by someone who's, and I find that a little disconcerting, that they said it was all right. Whoever did the, the Title V saying that this septic system was fine. I find that a little.
What I can add to that, Joyce, is when I went out there, that was after a considerable amount of construction had gone on. So the crushing of the system, the D-box and the pipes may have occurred after the inspection during the construction of, what they're
Okay, yeah.
building up there.
Yeah, so it didn't look like it was an old, it was not
It was
designed
definitely an
well.
old system.
right,
old D-box. It was Orangeburg piping, so it was an old
right,
system.
yeah,
But it may have been crushed after the inspection,
yeah.
because there was a lot of traffic up
Work
there.
down there, right, okay.
Yes.
I do want to point out, though, they were ready to begin some construction. So I really need to clarify, they didn't go ahead and construct, but I think the contractor was, hey, I'm supposed to put a septic tank in here. But there were, you know, thankfully they understood that he didn't have a permit in hand. So he decided that he was not going to do anything, which was a good choice by him, because that's penalties involved in that. But
Right.
the owner needs to be aware that there is a process. Modifications for septic systems require a permit. Whether you think it doesn't need one, it does need one. They just can't dig up the system and remodify their system, even though they think it's the best thing to do. They need to notify the Board of Health, and it goes through a permit process. Fortunately for the installer, they were wise to know. They were being pushed to get it done, and they realized. I don't think G&H knew that this was being done at the time too, so I promptly called them. So that's why they proceeded with the soil testing.
Good, that's good, yes. So I'll make a motion that we accept this plan that we have in front of us as acceptable.
I would only add to that would be conditional upon Tom's outline of whatever acceptance letter he puts forth to the board and whatever conditions he feels warranted for the approval. Based on that, I would second the motion.
Thank you. Anything else on this topic, or are we all good?
I'm good.
All right, so Tom Ryder will detail the few details that he wants added. It appears that the engineering firm is in agreement with whatever needs to be attached to the deed. Steve Donatelli has been on the site more than once, so at this time, I think we're in good shape.
Call for the vote.
Tom, aye?
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Joyce, who had a baby?
What?
Who had a baby?
Oh, my granddaughter.
Granddaughter. Oh, I thought you said, I didn't hear, I thought I heard daughter. I'm saying, Katie got a baby. She's Shannon's age. I said,
Yeah, no, my granddaughter.
oh, boy.
Lauren, my son's,
Congratulations. You're a
my
great
son, my son's daughter.
You're a
Lauren.
great grandmother now.
Yes, my
Oh,
my other granddaughter told me I was always a great grandmother.
oh, there you go. Thank you, everybody.
Have a
You're
good night,
welcome.
guys.
Thank you.
All right, looks like we have a couple of local upgrades.
Yeah, first one on the list is 31 Washington Street.
Tom Ryder, what's your take on 31 Washington Street? I understand it's a septic design to replace an old leach pit.
Yes. So I sent over this is done by land planning. They are locating the system down gradient from the property, and they're seeking a 3-foot offset to groundwater. And as a repair, this is acceptable.
I was surprised with what a great perk rate it had.
It's a loamy sand in the area.
Yeah. And that was really a good perk rate for this area, this street. You know, it's like, yikes.
Oh yeah, because it can be wet, and it does show to be wet in
Yeah.
that area.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good system. It looked nice. I saw the plan. It looked like good plan, good spot for it.
Yep, it's still gonna be a raised system.
Right,
Um,
no doubt.
Tom Fickner, any comments on 31 Washington Street?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward.
All right, I'm gonna ask for a motion and a vote.
I make
Joyce,
a
might as
motion-
well.
I
You're on
make
a
the
roll.
motion, we accept the plan for 31 Washington Street as before us.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay. 37 Blackstone Street, I believe.
Yes, this one, very similar. This one requires a pump system. It is a 3-foot offset, and the soils were consistent in the area. They did one test pit. No, they did two. However, it does require a pump system and offset to groundwater.
So Tom, Tom Ryder, you're good with this?
Yes, yep.
All right.
This one was done by Shea Engineering, existing house, of course. And they're outside the 100-foot from their existing wells.
All right.
yep,
All right, I'm gonna ask if there are any final comments by anyone?
looks good to me.
All
I'm
right,
good.
I'm looking for a motion.
I move that we accept the plan for 37
37.
Blackstone Street as seen on this plan.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye. All righty.
Moving along.
Yeah, I believe both of those properties are on the market.
yes, yeah,
37 Blackstone Street may have already been sold.
yeah.
I think that one moved pretty quick.
I don't mean to pry, but do you know how much these houses are typically going for? Or?
This one I
Washington-
went for 400 something.
Yeah, Washington Street is on the market for 1.2. It's an equestrian site.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. All right.
6.9 acres, I think.
Well, okay. I just have a friend who's looking in the area, so.
That's really like a horse farm, they've got all kinds of those, not barns, but riding, like, they look like teepees,
Quonset
not
huts.
teepees, Quonset huts. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what
there's-
they look like, yeah,
Yeah, there's one for the barn and one for the indoor riding ring.
right.
They're quite rugged.
Hey, who just mentioned somebody was looking for something in the area? Sorry.
That was me.
Tom, give me a call. I'll put my phone number in the chat if you want to give me, I know something that's coming up that hasn't been listed yet, and it might be a good opportunity.
Okay, yes, I will. It's actually for a friend, so I'll put him in touch with you. I can tell you his range, and then you might not want to talk to him again. But he's seeking newly divorced. So, anyways, thank you. I'll take it.
All right, Jack.
All right, the next one up is on permit applications. I've asked Steve Donatelli to help me out with this. The first one is the septic installers. As we know, we've just recently had a vendor who didn't have a current hoisting license, so we've asked another engineer to basically cover him for doing the work. And I basically wanted Steve Donatelli to say, yeah, good idea, no, bad idea type of thing, and get his take on, let the board know what we should be going towards.
Yeah, in my opinion, having somebody else work under a license, I'm okay with that, but whoever pulls the license is responsible for the system. So I mean, a lot of times I'll have contractors who have other people working for them who are actually constructing the system. But the person who's licensed, they're responsible. So. bottom line.
Steve, are you aware by any chance, we're hearing that the state is a little slow on getting some of these renewals out? I haven't.
I've heard that myself. I don't have any direct knowledge of that, but I've heard that same issue, people mentioning that to me.
Okay, I know firsthand a gentleman that has a GC license and has held it for a long time. The renewal took forever.
Mhm.
I heard through conversations that even the town of Mendon, it sounds like some of the hoisting licenses aren't coming back to the highway guys as fast as they are supposed to. And I also heard second or third hand that town of Milford might be experiencing the same. So I just wanted to know what you've been listening to out there.
I have heard a couple of different contractors mention that to me, that they
Okay.
are waiting for their hoisting licenses and they don't know how long it's going to be before they receive them from the state.
CDLs have been in trouble too. CDLs,
Okay.
yeah.
Is that just renewals or is that new licensing?
As far as I know, new, but renewals.
Renewals as well.
Yeah.
Renewals as well?
For the hoisting licenses, I've known about a couple of guys just looking for renewals.
Right. That's peculiar. I mean, you gotta wonder what, you know.
Everybody's working from home.
That's it.
I know, but when you're working from home, I mean, my experience is you get more out of them because they don't have to drive in and they don't have to drive out. So they're there
Right.
sitting ready to rock and roll. But
We would hope.
what do
would
I
hope.
know? What do I know?
So, Steve, out of curiosity, have you heard any particular timeframes thrown out for the length of time that people are saying, hey, I've had to wait? It's been 3 weeks or 4 weeks, or I was just curious.
No, I actually haven't.
Okay.
Well, I've heard a couple of guys mention to me, and the last one was about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard anything from them since, so I think they're still waiting on the license.
Okay.
Well, it seems a little bizarre because they expire December 31st. So that's isn't that bizarre? Am I not interpreting that right?
Well, some
No,
guys
they
don't
do.
know.
No, they do have different expiration dates,
Oh,
but I think they're good for 2 years each.
okay. Because I'm just reading this thing, permits issued at this time will expire at December
No.
31st of the current year. And I'm like,
No, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about their hoisting licenses. Yeah, our Mendon permits are good for a year. Yeah, they do expire December 31st.
Some things have improved. I know as far as commercial vehicle registrations, that if you wait to the last minute because it's a pile of money, at least when you do it online, you get a receipt that you can print and that you can keep in the vehicle, even though it may take 8 weeks to get your little sticker for your plate. You have something in hand that shows that you're legal.
uh-huh.
Kind of surprised that these guys aren't getting something in hand that they can print online that would state that, yep, you're renewed, you're all set. You're just waiting for that license copy to come in your hand.
Right.
One of them did mention that they had a receipt of the submittal. They
Okay.
received a submittal receipt. So shows that
Tom
they did
Fickner,
submit
weren't
it.
you asking about if something like that was being issued?
I mean, to the folks that have been applying, you mean?
Right. Some
Well, it just,
shows that they're taken care of.
yeah, it'd be, it would be nice if they could get something, if there's gonna be a delay. But I think the submittal is only a part of it. I think what we'd be interested in knowing is that they actually were licensed, even if the license were delayed in getting out to the actual people applying.
Right.
And I believe in looking at the website, I believe the recommendation is they actually do this process 5 or 6 weeks ahead of their license expiring. So I just kind of, I don't know if, are people following that guideline, or are they kind of lining up the jobs and it's like, oh, wait a minute, my license expires in 2 days. I better submit an application for renewal. And then they're getting caught up in the delay at that point. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know that either.
Yeah.
All right, back to you, Jack. You're looking for approval on forms?
Yeah, I'm looking for, like, if you want me to basically have like one valid hoisting license, but if the other person is not has
Is
like
delayed.
taking the installer's test or whatever, if somebody else could work under that main installer type of thing. I'm just seeing if the board would be good with that or not.
Well, I agree with Stephen, as long as the person he's working under knows that they're responsible. It's their license that they're working on. So if something goes wrong, they're the ones that have to be
Accountable.
punished,
Correct. Correct.
so to speak. Right.
I believe, Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there something as part of the application that actually they signing in reference to confirming they understand Title V regulations, which actually outlines the licensing requirements?
Yes, they do.
Right, so the people that are signing these applications, hopefully they realize what they're signing and they're confirming that, they need to have the proper licensed individuals on these projects. Personally, I don't have a problem if in the example we had where, someone's running into a bit of a problem with their getting a license and they have another licensed individual working for their company in the interim listed on the application. I'm fine with that because as far as the town of Mendon is concerned, as long as those individuals are properly permitted and licensed to do so, I think, I think that still works because they're taking responsibility and they're kind of putting their, their license out there to, do the work,
Agreed. Alan?
Steve, how many inspections are done? I believe it's 4, but how many inspections are done during the construction process of a septic system?
Average, I mean, it varies depending on the system itself. But 3 to 4
Okay, so I mean,
on average. If it's a pump system, it may be additional. If I have to come back and re-inspect, it's additional inspections. Larger systems too, depending if it's a tight site with the constraints, they might have to just construct a certain portion at a time and work their way out for access reasons, meaning they
Okay.
need additional inspections as they go.
Okay, so we're very fortunate that there are licensed inspectors in the field paying attention to what's going on during the construction.
Absolutely.
So we've got a reasonable amount of checks and balances, going on. And we know from past experience, people that have covered over a system a little early that, we've been able to get them to open it up again so that we can, see where all the components are, which is something we'd rather not do, but.
Hey, you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, you gotta hold somebody back every once in a
That's
while.
right.
They
Yep.
get going on a job and want to get it done.
Right.
But we need to see what's there. So
Right.
I think I'm comfortable that we're, fortunate that, the structure of the process allows for, a minimum of 3 or 4 inspections. the installer's not just out there installing. Tom Fickner?
I was just taking a look at some of the examples that Jack had printed up from a couple other communities. What their requirements are. I was just noticing, and I'm not sure if this would be necessary. There is a reference on one, if not a couple, about a dig safe number. Is that something that would really be
That's
needed?
state law.
They have to do that no matter. Yeah, before they start, before they put one shovel into the ground, they have to have a dig safe number.
Right, so point being is, I don't know if on our,
We did not
Application.
require that on our application, no.
right, that's the point. So I was asking if that's something we should be incorporating?
We can add it, but anybody that
Digs,
knows that it's a requirement,
right.
even for a homeowner. Tom,
Right.
if you decide you're gonna plant a new Christmas tree in your side yard, technically you're supposed to call dig safe before you put a shovel in the ground. So it's not just contractors, it's anybody that puts a shovel in the ground or pounds a stake in the ground. And they, that's why they advertise it so widely on TV and radio stations and this old house. So that's a state law.
Right,
and
I understand the requirement. What I'm asking is if we feel the item is needed on our application to be listed.
we could require it.
I
The
mean,
num-
it's required anyway, but if you wanted to add it, it's not gonna kill anything.
Yeah, the problem you'll run into, Tom, is a dig safe number is only good for 30 days. So when you apply for the permit to install a septic system, if it's more than 30 days, they would have to keep re-upping that dig safe number. It doesn't even last 30 days anymore. You have to renew it prior to that 30 days. So I'm not quite sure how that would work because some installers may put their paperwork in 2 or 3 months before they do the system. Correct me if I'm wrong, Steve Donatelli.
That's correct.
So that dig safe number wouldn't be valid more than 30 days. I see Lonnie Tinio has his hand up.
Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say, I mean, ultimately, it's not an enforceable item for the Board of Health either. I mean, maybe it's convenient to have it, but like you said, I think it's something they ask for that number right before they start to dig, so. I mean, you might have your application in, but you're looking for the final approval right before you dig.
We should ask for soil testing for sure, because that's a scheduled date, unless we're backing it more than 30 days. I've seen issues with the Board of Health coming out and be part of a ripping up a gas line. And they're asking, how come the Board of Health didn't do it? Well, the Board of Health is sitting there and they're part of the catastrophe. I mean, fortunately, nobody was hurt. I mean, it happened in Weston about 10 years ago. But yeah, it was, I think you're right about the septic system, the timing of it. They should be notified that they should. But for soil testing, that's usually within a couple of weeks, right?
Usually.
Usually, yeah. Then again, yeah. It's probably more for informational purposes.
Okay, so should we word it on the application as sort of like a FYI reminder? Please make sure you pull your dig safe number.
Well, I don't think we need to do that. I was just wanted to throw it out there for a discussion point, just to see if it was worthy of putting it on. And basically the feedback I'm hearing is really, it doesn't sound like it's a necessary element to put on the application. Because like you say, everybody knows contractors, you put a shovel in the ground, you gotta call dig safe beforehand. So, and things can change. So,
Right.
All right, Jack. So we're talking about the septic installer's permit. at this time. So is everybody okay with what we presently have? What Jack is proposing?
Yeah, I think it's very concise. I think it's a good job.
Yeah, I think we have what we need. I know there may be some communities that actually look to, I don't know if they push it or not, but get all individuals that have hoisting licenses listed. But, you know, that's very difficult. It would be very difficult for the Board of Health to kind of follow that. I think it's really up to, at that point, the, you know, the contractor's taking on the responsibility to make sure that the individuals who are licensed are doing the work and they're licensed accordingly for what they need to do. So I think the outline we have now works.
All right, so we'll give the septic installer's application a good blessing and move on to the soil test extensions.
Yes.
Jack has that listed as 3B.
Yes, currently right now, the town of Mendon does not have any extensions for soil tests. And going through the other surrounding towns, I've been noticing applications in Hopedale, Uxbridge, Northbridge, and just wondering if that was something that Mendon would be interested in doing as well. Is having like a 2-year extension from the perk test expiration date type of thing. And that's again why I brought Steve Dontelli on about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd probably want to hear Steve's viewpoint there.
Yeah, for extensions, I know majority of the towns I work within, they do require extensions. A little bit variable. Some of them want any perk test to be extended every 2 years to keep them up to date and kind of track them. A couple other towns just want when you're going to actually use it. If you have a test that's done in 2012 and you want to use it currently, now you get an extension, just to make sure that the site hasn't been altered. If the site's been, I've had a couple where I've had to deny the extension because the site has been altered, the testing site. But basically what the extension is for, make sure that the soils that were tested are still there and not altered in any way.
So what would you consider, Steve, a reasonable period of time? It seems like, say, 2 years, seems like 2 years seems like an awful short period of time to want to.
I agree. I mean, that I don't think it's necessary to have it every 2 years. It's up to the board. I mean, I don't feel it's a problem if somebody wants to use old testing, as long as it's done under new Title V, which is 94 forward. Anything prior to that is voided. But from that point forward, if they want to then use that testing, they'll go for an extension to make sure that that site, have to go out there, inspect the site, make sure the site is still in the condition that it was at the time of testing. And if it is still the same condition, hasn't been altered in any way, then the soil testing information and data should still be fine
Accurate.
to use.
Right.
You really don't want to keep by not doing that. If you don't give extensions, or I mean, the way we've been doing it, just let them use it forever. But you don't really know if the site has been altered. We can be allowing testing information to be used for design. I had one in Douglas where there was a hill they tested on top of the hill. They came up with a design, and it was a gravel hill. They knocked it down. The soils that were tested were 30 feet higher than the site was at the time of the submittal. So those soils didn't exist any longer.
Right.
So I had to
So
deny
it
that
had to
one.
be-
So it's,
had to be retested.
yes.
Okay, so currently, someone applies a permit for a perk test,
Mhm.
and they perk a particular piece of land, and the results are good forever in the town of Mendon, the way we have it right now.
Correct.
Well, as long as nothing's been altered, I mean, I think that you'd have to review the site before you could say, oh, well, it's good forever. I mean, after 2 years, you could review the site if somebody applies then in 2 years, right? To be doing their septic system, then you'd say, well, let's just make sure that everything's all maintained the same integrity. No?
Currently, we don't have that.
Yeah, we have
Sorry?
no limit. So for example, right now, somebody could actually challenge us and say, let's say they did a test and it passed fine, and 5 years from now, they hadn't acted on it without any kind of limit or guideline or structure to that regard. Technically, somebody could come back and just say, well, I submitted one. There's no guideline that said I had to redo or, have you recheck because of the time lapse. They could potentially challenge the Board of Health that there's a viable passing perk
Well,
test on file, right?
but what happens is, I mean, somebody has to apply for an installer's permit for a septic system in a certain area, right? Is that still viable? That if they're going to do a septic system, they're going to install a septic system, somebody from the Board of Health has to go and look at the,
The site.
Well,
and that's
let's say they did a perk test and just sat on it for 5 years and didn't do anything. Let's just say they did a perk test and for whatever reason, no other advancement on the property. And then
well,
5 years later,
they have to present a plan, though.
what I'm saying is they just didn't take any action.
Right,
Even though,
but
right?
but when they do take action, they have to present a plan.
Right.
So that gives us some, some control, sort of, I guess.
Yeah,
Right.
at that point, they should ask for an extension on the soil testing so that we can go out to the site, inspect the site and make sure that the
Correct.
testing is still
Right,
viable.
viable,
Still,
Right.
yes, we can still use that test information.
right.
So Joyce is referencing where I was going, which was to maybe we ought to consider creating some sort of a timeline in line with the time frame we have for how long a set of plans are good for.
Yeah, which is what, 3 years with a 2-year extension if you apply before the 3 years is up.
You can get a 1-year extension.
Okay,
Yeah, 3 years and you get a 1 year to make it 4 currently. If you ask before that 3 years is up.
And we do have Tom Ryder with his hand raised.
Yeah, typically, we allow the older soil testing as long as it was located on a plan and it hasn't been disturbed, like Steve was saying. So not only it's not just a blanket approval. I don't think we often go out to the site, but I think when the engineers preparing a plan, they need to locate where exactly the soil testing was conducted. Sometimes, like for a vacant piece of property, there's still some evidence. You see some sinkholes in the area, and we know that the testing was done per the original plan. But they do need they should be submitting a plan right after soil testing, especially if they're holding on to it for a long period of time, just so it becomes a marketability and also becomes a Board of Health verification thing. So if you're selling a piece of property with a potential house, you got to show the potential engineer. It should be the engineer who's conducting soil testing, but also the Board of Health, a verification of where they were at the time. But I do agree that, after a certain amount of time, perhaps it's time to go back out there, making sure that all the gravel wasn't hogged out from that hill that you're talking about and brought to another site. And then if you're left with the tailings,
so do we put something in place that mirrors the septic system approval, the 3-in-1?
I'd say so. 3-in-1, yeah. It makes sense. It falls within the same time frame. And it's not a denial of the soils. It's just a renewal of the application, a verification.
Make sure that we're in the right
Unless they
place at
put
the
a
right
house.
time. Right,
They don't put a house where the soils were. Yeah.
right.
So is everybody fine with that?
Yeah,
How would we so from a, are we, from an implementation standpoint, are we assessing any kind of additional cost for that? Or is this just something internally that we're looking to trigger?
Well, if someone has to go out and do a physical inspection, then there is a cost involved. What I'm seeing from Northbridge and from Uxbridge, it could be anywhere from $150 to $425.
Well, it depends on the type. They have it categorized, right?
I mean, you go to Blackstone and it can go from $750 to $1,000.
Right, well,
Based
but
on-
that's.
which I believe
that's-
is way out of
that's-
whack.
That's the fee for doing the perk testing. That's not the fee for just going in and saying, oh yeah, that's where we did it, that's where it was.
Oh, okay,
blah,
I'm
blah, blah.
misunderstanding then.
Yeah, okay.
Steve Donatelli, what's it cost us to send someone like yourself out to take a peek and make sure everything's the way it was 3 years ago?
It's probably, I mean, extension fee for me to go out there, probably the same as I charge for a inspection. For a component inspection or anything else in a septic. A site visit.
$20, that's not bad.
Yeah, my rates have gone up.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with going along with something like that because it covers our costs, which is what we're trying to do.
Yep, makes sense.
The other thing that I see on this is the percolation soils evaluation results are due in this office no later than 60 days from the day of testing. Do we have that as our thing? All results must be submitted on DEP approved soil data forms. Do we have that on our thing? I don't see it, but
Currently on our perk application, we do not have that.
I think that's a good thing to have as well. You know, I don't, it's not gonna do us any harm, and then we've got a record of it as well in our little folders, so to speak.
All right, so
I can make a motion to add that little line, if you think that makes any sense.
Well, I would just ask, is 60 days, it sounds like it's awful far out.
Well, they just have to have, you need to have the soils evaluation results then. Just, you know, the paperwork.
Just submit the report back to the Board of Health office
Right.
within 60 days of the time of testing.
Right.
Is that from your perspective, Steve or Tom, does that sound like a reasonable time frame?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and if they can't get it within 60 days, they should just at least send something over saying, you know, that they had, that they're gonna be submitting it. You know, so it's more of just to make sure that, you know, the engineer doesn't walk away from it, and then the next person who purchased it, hey, we did soil testing, and they're struggling to find where it is.
Right.
So it's more of an admin, it's not a.
Right. And
you know,
it says
punishing
no later than 60 days. That means that you can put it in the next day if you want to, but it's no later than 60 days. All right.
Right.
all right, so I'm gonna propose that Jack modify our form along with the fee schedule to represent tonight's conversation. And then at the next meeting, we can view it and then vote on it. If it doesn't need any, you know, further adjustments. How does everybody feel about that?
I'm good with that.
We'll put all the weight on Jack.
That's fine. I'm used to it.
All right, so that takes care of 3B. Now we're up to 52 Millville Street follow-up.
All right, I want to thank you to Tom Ryder and Steve Donatelli for their time tonight. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you,
Thank you,
Tom.
gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye, Steve.
All right, I do believe we have the tenant on tonight from 52 Millville. If they would like to start first.
Hi, this is Kristen. Yeah, I guess I don't really have much. Like the commercial dumpster's still outside. I think, I mean, is there a chance that next meeting that we could like bring this up again and just follow up then? Because, you know, it's not a huge amount of change right now.
Well, I would just ask Kristen, how have you been doing and since we last met the last couple of weeks?
My breathing's actually gotten a lot better. I'm not using the inhalers anymore, which is good.
Yeah.
I have, you know, I haven't been feeling great anyway, so.
And has anything changed or been modified since the last meeting? Any kind of activities or actions taken place?
Just like deep cleaning. I threw out all of our bedding. I replaced our pillows. So yeah, like the breathing's been a lot better because of that.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good to hear that, and thank you for, taking some of the recommendations that we were trying to, put forth to help you out. So thank you very much.
Kristen, what kind of heat do you have now that it's getting winter? What do you have?
There's
What do
like,
you have?
there's like radiators.
Uh-huh. Oil heat, gas heat.
I think it's oil.
Uh-huh. Because that helps too to keep once you put the heat on and things, stay nice and dry and warm too,
Okay.
From a
Although
construction,
we've had good weather.
don't jinx it, Joyce.
I know. Sorry.
From a construction standpoint, Kristen, has all the construction work been completed that you were anticipating to have done?
No, but I think most of it's like on its way to being done. So that's why I'm thinking if we could just, maybe bring it back up at the next meeting when things are a little bit moving along more. That might be the best thing.
Okay, yep, I'm fine with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to comment on this particular topic? All right, at this time, I'm fine with taking the Kristen's suggestion that we bring it up at our next meeting as 52 Millville Street. And, she's more than welcome to call in and update us or anybody else that is interested in this particular address. Fellow board members, you okay with that also?
Yeah, that's good to me. Sometimes, especially these days, anybody I know that's trying to get somebody to do a job is having issues, getting.
Mr. Chairman, I'm the landlord. The contractor was there today installing a new slider downstairs because it just got delivered last week, and he should be done on Friday with everything else that's left to be done. I'm not sure it needs to be on the agenda again, but I mean, I guess I don't object to it, but it's just waiting for the door to show up. It showed up, and it should be out of there by Friday. And the dumpster, once it's loaded up with the things that need to get gone, it should be done. So I don't know if it needs to be on the agenda again, but
That's fine with me. If, you know, maybe, you work that out with the tenant as to whether or not, you want to be on our next meeting. And if you want to be on our next meeting, reach out 48 hours in advance and Jack will put it on. If not, you know, my best to everyone, you know, and I appreciate the fact that everyone was, you know, willing to work together to, expedite this. So thank you very much, for all your cooperation. Fellow board members, you fine with leaving it like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Okay.
as long as everybody's happy, I think it gotta be good. Yeah.
Yeah, if all parties concur, absolutely, yeah. Thank you all for, you know, for all your efforts.
All right, very good then. So we'll wait to hear, as to whether or not, you know, you want to be on the next meeting. And, if not, I wish everyone, happy holiday season. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
There's like literally a lot against that.
All right, Jack. Master plan response.
All right, there was a survey gone out to all departments around the town of Mendon from Bill Ambrosino about the town's master plan. I gave you copies of the questions that they were asking for your review to make sure that I've answered them properly. And there is the last two questions, number 6 and number 7. I'm looking for feedback from the board.
Okay. You said number 7, the last one.
Number 6 and number 7.
Okay.
Well, I just wondered about number 1, actually. Can I
Okay.
ask you that? Because, I mean, it says, please provide a brief overview of staffing of your department positions, amount of time, and any other information. So we have Stephen, we have Tom, we have Danielle, and we have Daniel, right? So I see it says we have 1 full-time administrator and 3 voluntary board members, but don't we have these other asides? Do we have to include them?
I can include them.
I don't know.
I was just thinking like immediate, like board member type things, but I could put them in.
Well, I would agree with Joyce, because this is because of what the information is for, being the master plan for the town. I think what they're trying to get is the overall picture from every department, and all resources that apply. So I would concur that we should actually list the other individuals that provide support. And from the staffing perspective, granted, they may not be employed, but they do provide support in their resources to the Board of Health that we could not do without.
And they do get paid.
And they
No,
do
that's
get paid.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. When you think of our health inspector, where, you know, the position is open right now.
Right.
Right now, Danielle is our temporary appointment animal inspector and currently working on the bond book. So that's, you know, that's another position that we have
Right.
annually. Along with the fact that Danielle and Daniel, because we participate in the grant program that Missy got us involved in, they're very important parts of the Board of Health on a daily basis between, you know, the inspections and, you know, permits and things that they, you know, help us with.
Right.
So yeah, Joyce, boy, you can't just read on the surface. Good for you.
The other thing
This
I'd want
isn't my first rodeo.
the other thing, and not that it matters, but I might want to change it when we're talking about the board members. I would probably, instead of voluntary, I would probably put elected board members.
Yeah.
I'm voluntary, however. I'm just saying.
You were kidnapped.
The volunteerism comes from our hearts. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So, Tom, you're a man of many words. You want to clean up number 1 for us? Number 1A?
I could, I would say Jack's been on a roll. I mean, I would defer to Jack and, we could certainly, he could put it back out to us in an email or something, and then we could just kind of acknowledge the adjustments.
Sounds
Yeah, make
good to me. Is there a time limit on this, Jack?
Let me go back to the email.
Yeah, not so much a time limit, from Bill's reach out and in talking with him or communicating via email, the ideal time frame to have received all the answers would have been by October 31st, which is when they had their meeting.
Gotcha.
I did email him and let him know that we had most of the answers set up, but we were going to have it on our agenda. And the hope would be potentially we might have something maybe tomorrow. But if it goes into the beginning of next week, I don't think that's a major problem. I could just keep Bill abreast of the time frame. I think it's just, I think it's important. We want to have the correct information.
Well, I mean, I think that if we say to Jack, we'd like it to say elected and then include Stephen, Tom, Danielle, and Daniel, or not even have to say their names, and 4 other, not full-time, but part-time assistants, I think that would be adequate if we want to get it in a timely fashion.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
we can go by position, part-time health inspector,
All right,
part-time animal inspector. So we could give the position title.
right, yeah,
Um,
I mean, and Jack knows that, and
You know,
we could
Steve
check in,
Donatelli is our field engineering representative.
right,
We might
yeah.
have to pay him more if I build the title up too much, but,
yeah,
and
you
then
gotta be careful.
Tom Ryder is our in-house engineer,
Right,
part-time.
yeah.
So maybe go by job title.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Jack, to you?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Yes.
Should we highlight that somehow that these positions are not, for the most part, employees other than Jack? That these are basically contractors?
Well, one full-time administrator, and then the rest are part-timers, really, they're not.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
they're really not contractors.
Right.
They
well,
are.
so take, Tom Ryder. How would
Yeah.
you classify Tom?
I don't know how he's set up.
I mean, he's not an employee, right? Because he bills us for his services, right?
Okay, so he might be like the old half when we had contractors.
Yeah, to my
But,
knowledge, I don't believe his status with the town changed. I think the only individual that came up was when our previous health agent was involved.
Okay,
And then I think ultimately administration decided to leave it alone,
right.
right?
So-
I believe.
I mean, I don't know how technical we have to be.
Because I can say, if you say part-time, a part-time engineer.
Yeah, you don't
so-
have to say contractor or employee.
Right, you can say part-time, and part-time could be 2 hours, or it could be 27 days, or 100 days, or whatever, part-time is whatever it's part-time is, whatever
I-
it does.
I just wouldn't want people to get the impression that we have a bunch of employees on the payroll when we actually don't.
Okay,
That was my point in wanting to differentiate.
all right.
Because, I mean, there'll be a multitude of people that will look at this information, right?
Right,
Mhm.
And we could, if with this part-time, somebody could easily infer, oh, they're a part-time employee.
well,
Okay.
but they're saying part-time, but, is it part-time 30 hours a week, or is it 40, 30 hours a year, or, I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think your part-time is legit, in my opinion, without getting too crazed.
Would it be called fee for service?
Oh, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Yeah, hey, that'll work for me. I don't remember technically how these different people were set up, because for some reason I think like Danielle Edmonds is actually an employee.
Well, so she comes to us through the Blackstone Valley grant program.
Right, but
Yeah.
we use her in two different, she was appointed as our interim animal inspector.
She's technically considered a Northbridge employee, and Northbridge lends her out to Mendon, part of the grant process.
Right.
All
So
right, but on the animal inspector, she gets an annual stipend.
If
Oh, that's a
new
good
me-
point, because we
know.
do have a salary element for that role, huh? I forgot about that.
So I mean, other than going to HR and finding out how these people are classified according to HR, I don't know how you do it unless you use Jack's words.
I guess I would ask, is Danielle aware that she should be getting that stipend for that role?
I believe so.
Okay.
We could keep it a secret. Just kidding.
I would just want to, yeah, we should maybe just validate that. I kind of forgot that we had that line item in our budget for that position.
Right, but for this particular item right now, it's really not germane. But
Right,
for
correct.
this,
Yeah.
Right, so
Right.
let's get that straightened out and move on. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay?
Okay. So question number 2, Joyce, how you feeling about that one?
Yeah, it sounds all right to me. I read through, that was the only thing that I saw that I thought that needed to be done. And the thing about voluntary board members, I think that it should say elected.
All right, so number 4, we gotta change voluntary to elected,
I
Correct.
think,
okay?
Under 1 and 4.
yeah, we already said that, right?
And probably 4 needs to be expanded a little bit. It's almost like it's a repetition of number 1 in a way. They just asked it a little differently. But it seems like number 4, they want to know how the department is structured. So there might have to be like a little paragraph blurb there about the flow of,
Well, they're asking whether it's a board or a commission,
Right,
and
so we're a board. We're elected, we're an
we're being
elected
told,
board,
it's an elected board,
yeah.
so.
I was taking it as 2 separate questions. Okay, so you're looking at question 2 as an extension of question 1. I mean, you're looking at the second question of number 4 as an extension of the first question in number 4?
Correct,
Okay, I was looking at that as 2 separate questions.
gotcha. So the Board of
Yeah.
Health consists of 3 elected board members, so I think
Yeah.
that answers 4.
Yeah,
All right, 5 is, current. So that brings us up to 6.
On number 5, is it Milford visiting nurses or is it Salmon? B&A.
I got this out of the vendor book that I fill out the vouchers for, and it's made out to Milford Visiting Nurses Association.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think that they are called the Milford, but they're,
The Salmon family.
right, the Salmon family is Hyde, but I think it's Milford area.
Okay.
All right, number 6, does your department area have any available plans, reports, studies that you can share with? Joyce, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, I would say that the Lake Nipmuc study reports, I've been
Yeah.
doing a little bit at a time. I've been away for most of the week last week, but I've been contacting different people that I know live on the lake to see if when they've had pumping and if they've gotten a receipt for us and that sort of thing. Because we do have an issue. We do have a problem there.
Okay, so,
But that's a whole other story, but that is
So
That's a different story, but we are working on that study.
all right, now I'm reading this as the Lake Nipmuc study reports from 2021, which I have in front of me.
Right.
Would it also be available to share the map that Missy had worked on for a number of years and Jack had produced in print form for us?
Makes sense.
I mean, you know, those two parties put a lot of work into it. It does
Correct.
present well.
Right.
So, I mean, that's something else that we could list that would be available,
Right.
that we could share with the master plan committee if necessary.
How do we head that, Jack?
How do we what?
What would be the heading for that?
I would call a septic system mapping.
Okay.
How about from a more of a pure health perspective, things such as flu, COVID-19 type of reports or that have been pumped out the last couple of years? That could be information we probably have to go through. Maybe Ann Labonte possibly might have something at her fingertips.
Yeah, I can ask her about those.
I don't know if that would be germane to the, you know, to that. I don't know. That doesn't. I don't
Well,
know.
if they were just statistics,
All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
statistics. Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it
That's-
kind of
that's
shows
be- That's better. Yeah.
yeah, kind of shows the health of the community.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
All I could think of.
All right, so now we're up to number 7. General needs and issues relating to your department should the authors of the master plan be aware of. Is this the time we ask for things?
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, we have Lonnie on the call. I think it's a great time to ask.
I was just gonna say, Jack, what do you need?
Again, I've only been here for 6 months, so I really don't know what I need yet.
Well, let me tell you, Jack. I'm waiting for Lonnie to crack a big smile.
Sorry, did you
There
say-
go. There
Was
you
this
go.
the master plan stuff you said?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So in the master, so not so much that we're looking, I think they're looking for asks as much as they're looking for,
What is?
yeah, is there anything that the Board of Health that we want to get into the master plan for the development of the master plan? So I'm not sure exactly where the Board of Health falls in it here, unless we're talking about items such as town water sewer, which are already in the master plan and been talking about. So I'm not sure what else. Can't think of anything off the top of my head that would really constitute part of the master plan from the Board of Health, unless we're talking about maybe flu clinics or something like that. But I think you guys have all that.
We've already addressed that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I other than them looking for anything, I can't think of anything. I would, you know what, maybe because it's not my forte. Jack, would you want to reach out to our master plan liaison at CMRPC to see if they have any suggestions of what other towns have done, maybe to bring that back to see if we can start to just jog our memories to get that moving?
Sure.
I'll get that contact over to you right away.
Thank you.
Lonnie, while I got you, we had talked about earlier about a little bit of a time frame for this. I know ideally Bill was looking for something by the 31st, and I said it wasn't our agenda tonight. Do you know what the realistic time frame for wanting to have this data kind of in place so it's ready to go?
I mean, you guys meet in 2 weeks again, right?
Right.
I think if Jack was able to get any type of information from CMRPC, that she'd be able to, disseminate that out to you guys, that you'd be prepared at the next meeting. Again, this isn't a heavy lifting item. I don't think that by the next meeting, you guys would be able to have some ideas in your head for anything. And again, I'm not even sure that Board of Health, I don't even think it ever came up in a question. I think what we were more from the committee saying is, hey, have we missed anything? And I would think that the CMRPC folks would have said, hey, reach out to the Board of Health because of A, So, but I think just having that quick conversation or a quick email between Jack and them will help put this to bed.
Yeah, I
Great, okay.
know in the past, Tom, when you and I went to a couple of those like 1-day classes,
Yeah,
there was talk about like an enclosed trailer that had supplies in it that could be, located at an area if, there was a need for whatever was being kept in that particular enclosed trailer, sort of an emergency use type setup.
Right, like for a fire or major catastrophe, right?
Right. And there were some towns that had applied and had gotten some of that equipment, from different state grants, et cetera. There may have even been some towns that had acquired the use of some kind of an emergency response apparatus that, they shared, because obviously one town's not gonna need it all the time. So I don't know if that fits into this category as to maybe something that you might want to get involved in. If something like that were to come available, you could raise your hand and say, yeah, we'd like a piece of that. Like I said, I can't remember, but there were different forms of equipment that went everything from iPads up to, like I said, some sort of an enclosed trailer that contained, supplies that you could respond to some sort of a health, emergency.
Catastrophe, yeah.
Yeah, it could be a flood,
Yeah. Right.
any of those things that happen that disrupt people's lives. And it could be something that contains a whole bunch of bottled water, that you could, disperse.
Right.
But, maybe Jack will get more information when he reaches out to the representative.
yeah, I would think that would be probably more direct within, say, the Board of Health, Department of Public Health type of domain, as opposed to, say, the master plan info, I'm thinking.
Okay.
But it's a good point.
Yeah, I'm kind of reading it when, they say needs and issues relating to your department. And again, I don't know how this whole thing works together, but I mean, obviously, Missy put us on a good path with a lot of the, relationships that she established that, Jack is continuing to cultivate. So, that's the only thing that I could think of down the road as sort of a future thing that we would definitely want to get involved in. If something like that were presented, especially if it was something we could share with other area towns.
Good point. Yep, I hear you.
All right, so we'll wait to see what Jack comes back to us with.
Yeah,
And
I like
then,
that
we
reach
can
out
wrap up.
suggestion to the CRMP. What's the acronym for that again, Lonnie?
CMRPC.
CMR, thank you.
All right, and then we'll get this wrapped up at our next meeting and get it right out to Bill.
Great. Thank you, Lonnie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Lonnie, while I see you here, my phone number for the Board of Health is only on my house computer, which is stuck in my back room. And I am, I would like to have it on my iPad or something, and I don't know how to do that. I can't get it on my phone.
Your email address, you mean?
It's my Board of Health email.
Email, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's only on that computer over there. It's not on any of my other things like this. I'm on the iPad right now, and I have an iPhone, and I was in Maine all week last week, and I thinking, oh, I should probably check my thing and see if there was a catastrophe in town or anything, but I can't do that. I don't need you to do it right now, but maybe you can call me at some point. I just didn't know.
Sure. I drive by your house every morning. I'm doing a chaperoning a field trip with my daughter tomorrow. So if Friday morning, I'll give you a call. If you're available, I'll stop by. We'll do them all at the same time.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
No problem. I'll throw it on my calendar right now.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
All right, so where's this field trip going?
You had to ask.
You look, you have to look it up.
I don't know. It just says field trip.
Well, it will be a nice surprise.
Yeah, so you don't know how to prepare.
Oh, what's boarding house park?
Don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
A
know.
boarding house, that doesn't sound too good,
Somewhere in
though.
Worcester.
Well, at least you're not
I'm
going.
embarrassed.
At least you're not going to the wilderness, so you'll be okay.
We're running the kids through Kelly Square at high speed so they can
Yeah.
see how it works.
Well, it works
Yell out the
much
window,
better
go
than-
Woo
much
Sox.
Better than it used to work, that's for darn sure.
Ooh, that thing was hairy.
Oh,
All right, so it looks like we have some minutes to approve.
Yeah, one
However-
general question. I was just, in looking at an example when we were reviewing forms. Jack, can you confirm if the names have all been changed for all our forms to reflect the current board?
Oh, for the current board,
Yeah,
I believe I caught everything for all the forms that I'm developing. I am putting the current names on the forms.
okay. I just happened to, the example that I printed out, it still had Andy as the chairman, Alan and myself.
What form is that?
This was the septic installers example.
Almost done.
Yeah, that was off the Mendon website that has now been replaced.
Great, okay.
I don't take offense if they call AJ. Really?
No, I wouldn't either. Especially if it's a midnight call.
There you go, 2 a.m.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, so we has everybody well, Joyce, I guess this doesn't involve you. You got out of this one. But we've got all these minutes.
I leave the meeting for a few minutes. My granddaughter needs my help right now, just for a second.
Absolutely.
Or am I all set to go for the night, Jack? No,
Yep.
I'll come back.
Okay,
Yeah, come back.
we miss you. All right, Tom. So I guess it's you and me on these.
Yeah,
I looked them over and I was, to my memory, which isn't that great all the time, it looked as, though everything was in order.
yeah, I think for these, basically, Jack, you just captured what you saw on the videos, right?
Correct.
Yeah. The only thing I would probably adjust on these would be the title that you have given to Missy. Because at the time, she was actually our senior administrative assistant.
Okay.
Office coordinator didn't exist until you came along.
Okay.
The new man in town.
So the new man. So as of the May meetings, listing yourself, you're actually the inspectional services coordinator, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I would say for Missy, I would apply that senior administrative assistant title.
Okay.
Okay, so we need to have a motion and a second, right?
Yeah, to accept them. Yeah. You want to step down?
Yeah, I'll step down and make a motion to accept the minutes of the meetings as written for 11/9/21, 12/1/21, 12/15/21, 1/5/22, 1/27/22, and 2/9/22, with the minor adjustment to Missy's title as written.
And I'll second the motion.
Aye,
Aye.
all right.
Thank you.
So, any old business that we need to discuss?
I did get an email from the town council. She did have one small revision to the dumpster regulations, which I will forward to everybody tomorrow. It's not that major of a change. It's just the way the I guess the fining would go. First
Okay.
offense, second offense, third offense, and that was basically it.
Okay,
So-
so we can put that on next meeting's agenda
Correct.
so that we can vote on that. Oh,
Yep.
wait a minute. Is that the one we can vote on, or do we have to go out to do we have to have a general town meeting type thing?
Is this for the dumpster?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a public hearing on that one.
public hearing, that's it. Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess we should start thinking about when we want to have that public hearing. Do we have a special town meeting coming up in November? I
I
think I heard.
think that's correct, yeah.
All right.
You won't,
Usually-
sorry,
you-
you won't be able to make that. The warrant's already closed. It will be at the annual.
Okay, yeah, we just need to have a public hearing to approve to vote on the dumpster regulations that we've drafted. Jack said that we got them back from the town's attorney with one minor change on the fining structure. We've done this before with the tobacco regulations, and sometimes people show up, sometimes people don't show up. It's a procedural thing that we have to do in order to adopt these regulations. So I'm just thinking of a time that's available in November, December, January that would work for everybody around the holidays, around the special town meeting that we're gonna have. So I'm just kind of thinking.
Does it need to go to special town meeting? Is it a bylaw change or it's just a regulation change?
No,
It's a
this
public
is public hearing, so this would be something just the BOH would hold, Lonnie. We just have to advertise it out as a public hearing, and this would be almost in place of like a Board of Health meeting. But it would be advertised out as a public hearing on this particular topic only.
Yeah, 99.99999% of the people are not gonna care. So
I hear you.
So actually, what we should do is we should schedule it for a meeting night. Have the meeting in the upper town hall. Open the meeting or do the public hearing and then go right into our meeting.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it's just, do you want to do that sometime the month of November? Or do we want to wait till December? Or do we want to wait till January?
Well, are we ready? The only thing we were waiting on was the legal, right?
Right.
And so now that's come back and we have the answers. So with what we have, are we able to produce a final document and put it out there such that we could maybe say the public hearing would be our next scheduled date?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a time limit on how much advance notice we have to give. And obviously, we need the upper town hall to be available on a Wednesday night,
Correct.
which Lonnie's got something to tell us right now.
So the 19th, which would be your next meeting, the Upper Town Hall is booked for tax classification hearing for the Board of Selectmen.
Well, we can bump them.
Okay.
Are you looking at November, Lonnie?
I think it's the
Yeah, I'm
16th
sorry,
would be our
November
next
si-
date.
no, I'm sorry, the 16th, not the 19th.
Yeah.
All right, so do we, what, our next meeting would be?
The 16th of
after
November.
that? All right, so 2 weeks after the 16th, we're right around, is that after Thanksgiving?
It is
That would be after
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
So just so you guys are aware, somehow the select board meetings are conflicting with your meetings. And I think it's only in the month of November because of the holiday. We kicked one down the road. And I think we adjusted because we would have normally met on the 23rd, which is Thanksgiving Eve. So I think we sandwiched the 16th and the 30th. Let me just go into December for you, one second.
Okay. Hello, Joyce. We approved the meeting minutes. Jack just let us know that legal has given us back the dumpster regulations with one minor change on the fining schedule. So we're trying to pick a Board of Health meeting so that we can do the public hearing and then go into our meeting. So that has to be held like in the upper town hall. So Lonnie is checking to see what's available in the next month and a half for us to do that.
And it wouldn't necessarily have to be a Wednesday, right?
We could change it.
Just for the sake of getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, if
So-
everybody's
Joyce, you-
available, we could do it on a Tuesday night instead, or a Thursday night.
Joyce,
So
you
the-
muted.
Sorry. Yes, I have a class on Monday nights, that's all.
All right, so Monday night's a no.
Yeah,
So that gives us, we could do it on a Tuesday night instead of a Wednesday.
yep, it's fine with me.
Tuesday or third Tuesday? Hold on.
Yeah, how does Tuesday, the 15th look, Lonnie?
Agricultural Commission, but I don't know that they meet at the town hall. Hold on. Hold on, Blackstone Valley Youth Leader, what is that? No, the Upper Town Hall's booked already on the 15th. The 17th is open, it's a Thursday. Oh, look at that. Hi, baby.
Hello.
You came to the meeting.
Getting
Hi.
them started young.
Stealing the show. We're not gonna get anything done now.
Yeah, that's a good.
The
group.
17th is open right now. That's the Thursday following that, your regularly scheduled 16th meeting.
Okay, so,
As long as that doesn't interfere with the amount of time we have to advertise
Just
it.
because.
You'd have to advertise it tomorrow, I think, because you think you need 2
Okay.
weeks. You know what? I'm not gonna interfere with Jack's job any longer.
No, you're helping us.
absolutely.
I'll take all the help I can get.
Other
You-
day-
so-
The other day would be the December 1st. Or the 29th. You can do the Tuesday, the 29th. It would be the Tuesday of your next regularly scheduled meeting. 'Cause
So
we
Lonnie,
screwed
you're
you up.
thinking that there's a requirement of 2 weeks for a public hearing?
Usually it's 10 days, you know what I'm saying?
10 days, okay.
I
gotcha.
don't, but everything's different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Okay.
fine with I'm fine with Tuesday the 29th.
Yep, that's fine.
Joyce, Tom,
Yep.
Jack.
Yep, it's
I'm good.
okay with me.
All right, so we'll do the public hearing in our Board of Health meeting, Upper Town Hall, November 29th. $7:00.
We still keeping the 7 o'clock time? Or are we ready to move that up to 6?
Joyce, I already brought that up and Joyce said that would interfere with her home life.
Oh, I see. Yep.
You're like, I'm the cook and the
Yeah, hey,
dinner person. and
it's all good.
I don't have
all right.
anybody sitting there cooking for me.
Okay, so we'll have.
We
our-
ought to change that. Where is Mr. Gilmore nearby?
No, he's in the other room.
Okay, so we'll set our next meeting for the 16th,
Okay,
Right. Wednesday the 16th, fully remote
yep.
at 7. And
Oh,
then
Lonnie's waving.
our
Wait.
following meeting will be the 29th.
Hang on a sec. Lonnie has
So,
something?
yeah, sorry, so just an FYI, the 16th is the same day as the selectmen's meeting. Granted, ours probably is at 6. It's tax classification, probably gonna be quick. I do know that obviously I've been coming to these, and also if you do have a follow-up on the Millville Road, that you'll need 2 of us there that are gonna be at the other meetings. Although tax classification should be quick.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
gotcha.
have a feeling based on the participants for 52 Millville Road, that they're well on their way to finalizing that. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, it sounds, that sounds
You
like
know?
that's the, yeah.
We've got two parties that are very cooperative, so we're good.
That
So
was
I-
me knocking on wood, just in case.
I know. I got, all right, so our next meeting will be on the 16th at 7 o'clock, fully remote.
Okay,
And then we'll go to the Tuesday, the 29th for our combination Board of Health meeting, public hearing on dumpster regulations. So that gives Jack plenty of time to publicize it. Because we know we want to give him 2 weeks' notice.
right,
So, and so that fills out our November calendar.
okay.
So I guess it's just a question of confirming the method of notification that we have to follow. Right?
Right.
Right, but what form of media we have to use.
I think it's the Milford Daily News for publication now.
Well, at this point, yeah, we don't have the crier. So,
You can check with Ellen. She can give you all the legal forms.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great
good
idea.
point. Thank you.
She's a good resource.
Yeah.
Because usually it gets posted on the bulletin board out front of town hall. But I don't know what other forms of media, town website. But she can definitely confirm that.
Okay.
All right, so anything else, folks?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm all right.
All right, so you're
Yeah,
better.
all right, sister.
All right, so Jack, you're gonna email us those changes on the dumpster regulations, just so we can put our eyes on it.
Correct.
And reach out to Ellen and get the confirmation on how to publicly notify people of our public hearing.
Yes.
And maybe ask Ellen the question as to what the format is we have to follow, whether we open our meeting, have the public hearing, and then go back to our meeting. That I have a feeling from previous tasks that there is some kind of a format that we're supposed to follow, some sort
Okay.
of a procedure to do that.
All right.
Maybe she can confirm that, or maybe she can tell you that I'm full of you know what.
All right.
Other than that, motion to adjourn.
So move.
I will support that.
Everyone, thank you very much as always. Can't do it alone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night. What?